Steve, start. When Frank C. Russell assumed the presidency of the Montauk Club in October 1931, the Great Depression was bad and getting worse. Russell was 50, but had only joined the club a few years before when he moved into 276 Berkeley Place at Plaza Street, around the corner from longtime member Ed Blum, who ran Abraham and Straus department store. However, as a lifelong Park Sloper, pillar of St. Augustine's Church, former president of the Cathedral Club, and avid bridge player, Russell was well known and well liked. He was also well caffeinated, since he ran a major coffee roasting firm on Front Street in Manhattan. These qualities would serve Russell well as he stewarded the Montauk Club through one of its most difficult periods. The Depression devastated the Montauk Club's membership rolls. At the start of Russell's term in 1931, the Montauk Club had 200 resident members, half that of 5 years prior. Many lost everything in the crash of 1929, and new members were reticent to join at a time when 1/3 of New Yorkers were unemployed. This decline in membership wrought havoc on the club's finances. In the fiscal year ending in March 1934, the club lost $13,289.10, which would be just over $250,000 in 2020. The restaurant alone lost $5,370, more than $100,000 today. To offset the club's deficit, Russell and the board instituted a $5 monthly assessment on each member, which would be equivalent to over $100 today. Russell also revived the tradition of the annual neighborhood dinners, halted after the 1929 crash. The March 1934 dinner, co-hosted by Montauk Club clergyman Monsignor David J. Hickey of St. Francis Xavier Church and Rabbi Alexander Lyons of Congregation Beth Elohim, honored fellow Montauk Club member Peter P. Smith, recently elected to the state Supreme Court. Every attendee brought at least one neighbor as a guest in the hopes that they would join afterwards. And as men are wont to do in a time of crisis, Russell also turned to the ladies. His wife Elizabeth and daughter Betty organized the ladies' division in February 1934 to promote activities among the families of the members and afford the same facilities to the women as are enjoyed by the men. Women could not join the Montauk Club at this time, but the wives and relatives of members had always been encouraged to use the restaurant on the 3rd floor. The women of the ladies' division organized a bowling league, monthly lectures, quarterly tea socials, and a spring bridge luncheon that became an annual tradition. These initiatives drove usage and membership up, but not quickly enough. When Russell's good friend and predecessor, William H. English, passed away in April 1934 at the age of 71, most board members took it as a sign. English was an outsized personality who had drummed up attention for the club for decades and had often stepped in to bail out the club's finances. His death signaled the passing of a generation, and with debts mounting rapidly, the board convened an emergency meeting on May 16th, just 2 weeks after English's funeral. There, 10 of the 12 directors present voted to close the Montauk Club. As Secretary Arthur E. Beggs explained,
"Like all other clubs, the older members are dropping out, and the young fellows don't seem to care much about club life. It is possible that by lowering the standards, we could continue. Most of us feel that if we can't go on as we have in the past, the best thing to do is to liquidate."
only Russell and tugboat magnate Eugene F. Moran opposed the resolution to disband the Montauk Club. But according to our bylaws, the membership must vote on such a measure. So when the board sent out a letter explaining its position and calling for a meeting, Russell included a note calling on members to reject the plan. He wrote,
"I regret to say that a number of the members of your board are very alarmed about the affairs of your club and feel that it may be necessary to liquidate. Frankly, I am strongly opposed to any such action. I ask you to give your best thought to this matter in the hope that from our membership, we shall also receive suggestions which will enable us to carry on as to me it is unthinkable that the Montauk Club of Brooklyn, having as members many of our leading citizens, cannot face the present situation and emerge from it to a glorious future.
More than 100 members met at the club on June 11th to fight for its life. Eugene F. Moran put forward a resolution to delay discussion of closing until a proposed new Ways and Means Committee could chart an alternative way forward. He argued that since the club still had over $125,000 in assets, members shouldn't give up trying to find a way to increase sales and cut costs, and most of the members assembled agreed. A reporter explained,
Sentiment said continue, conditions said quit, and the issue was too great for Montauk members to decide in an evening. They saw in the membership board a challenge. They must either fill it up or take it down.
2 weeks later, Montauk Club members convened again for Christopher C. Mollenhauer, chairman of the new Ways and Means Committee, outlined what he called a new deal for the Montauk Club. In reference to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's National Relief Program enacted a year prior. Mollenhauer proposed raising $15,000 in mortgage certificates to buy time to increase membership and streamline operations. And given the success of the ladies' division, he also suggested creating a discounted membership for men under 35 to attract the younger element. All 65 attendees unanimously endorsed this new deal, and following the meeting, the members gathered round tables in the card room and engaged in reminiscences punctuated by toasts in celebrations of the meeting's solution to the club's financial difficulties. The Brooklyn Daily Eagle cheered the resolve of the membership, stating,
It is a source of deep satisfaction to all those interested in the maintenance of old Brooklyn institutions and traditions to learn that the historic Montauk Club has decided to carry on. President Frank C. Russell and his associates will have the best wishes of the community in their efforts to maintain this club, and the success of which Brooklyn has for so long taken such justifiable pride.
It took all summer to subscribe the new mortgage certificates, and by the fall of 1934, Russell and the board began offering new junior memberships and devising new ways to curtail costs. They encouraged members to buy their cigars in the lobby and decided to build a bar on the second floor to make it easier and cheaper to provide members with the club's most lucrative offering, alcohol. Individuals can't drink their way out of a depression, but apparently social clubs can. As more and more younger members joined the Montauk Club, drink sales soared. In fact, when the second floor bar opened in March 1935, it was so popular among the ladies that the House Committee decided to limit the hours they could use it each day and create a dedicated ladies' cocktail lounge on the third floor. But the men did their part too, and by October 1935, Russell reported with pride that for the first time in recent memory, the Montauk Club actually turned a profit, $1,502. He said,
Only a year ago, it seemed that this old and distinguished club must shut its doors. And now we find that although no attempt was made to skimp, no club function went into the red.
A reporter for the Brooklyn Times-Union explained,
Mr. Russell attributed the gain to the activity of the young men who have been admitted during the past year on special memberships carrying reduced club dues. He also complimented the women's division for its help. The new element in the club proved the enzyme that infused into a somewhat anemic body the breath of life and rescued an honored institution of the community from impending dissolution.
as we ponder how to make our way forward in our own perilous times, it's worth remembering how Russell and the Montauk Club were rewarded for their resolve, patience, and creativity. Russell remained president of the club until 1948, by which point we had over 700 members. Some of these members commissioned the portrait of Russell in our dining room, unveiled to his surprise at a dinner in his honor in December 1952. Someday soon we will be able to return to our clubhouse. When we do, hopefully Russell's portrait and the history it represents can remind us that it has never been easy to keep the Montauk Club afloat. But like the generations before us, we can and we will.